All right, guys. Today is Monday. We usually do these sessions on Sundays, but given the fact that this weekend was Memorial Day weekend, I started a little bit late, considering that we really didn't know what kind of volatility we were going to be expecting for Monday. But it's going to be a short week, so let's get started. Nothing has really changed as far as a monthly, weekly perspective. We're still roaming around there. If you're new to this channel, just be aware that anything has to do with purple are my monthly zones. Anything has to do with red are my weekly zones. So we're still there. Nothing has really changed as far as the monthly. Neither on the weekly. We're still there. But as we go on down, uh, we now everything has to do with yellows are pretty much my daily zones. So that's my daily supply. That I wrote down the daily demand right there, but that was a good demand. I really didn't think this demand was going to hold uh, really well, but it did, and it's still holding. So we came down towards that daily demand right there, um, and we're pretty much there. So let's go ahead and move on down to. I'm going to show you my actual chart, the way how I actually trade, and hopefully it doesn't confuse you guys. This is why um, this is going to be something new. If you find it confusing, please let me know, and I'll revert back to the way I actually do. But this is how I actually trade. Okay, so all these lines here, all it is just a quarter theory. If you're not don't know what the quarter theory is, just pretty much they work on the major holes, major quarters, minor holes, and minor quarters. I'm sorry, major holes, major quarters, minor holes, and then the minor quarters. I'm sorry about that. And um, and that's why you see these 25s, 75s. As a matter of fact, whenever you see me calling out a trade, you usually hear me out calling out, hey, you know what? We're looking for the 75, the 70s, the 30s, 25s, all that stuff. And that's how I actually trade. And last week we were talking about that. We were right somewhere right around here, and then we were thinking that hey, you know what? The major supply was right around the 600 level, and eventually it didn't really come up to the 600 level. And this is why I'm actually showing you the way I really trade now, because these 75s play a significant number. Okay, and um, and you guys really have to be careful with these because um, that's why whenever you hear me say, hey, you know what, in order for us to skip onto the next level, we need to get a 4 hour candle passing the 75 or the 25. And this is really what I mean here. Uh, that's one thing I actually forgot to state yesterday. I'm sorry, last week. It did quite actually jump, make it a little bit further. A break above that this candle right here did actually end up breaking above the 75, but not so much of an enthusiastic candle that was giving us confirmation. And even if it did, I mean, we were still going to stumble across supply and a lot of resistance around this area. So there was just a lot of things that was going to hold this dollar from keep on pushing up. Nevertheless, we actually had demand right around here. We came down, so we said, hey, you know what? If we break the 550, just expect for a pullback, and that's another thing, another disadvantage. So that's a disadvantage, I guess, for pullback traders. And I am actually more of a pullback trader. That sometimes, if you're trading these higher time frames and you get the breakout below the 550, the disadvantage of that is that sometimes you won't get the pullback, and we were expecting the break would happen here, and then we were expecting the pullback for the continuation back down. Okay, so that's I'm sorry, let me go ahead and get for the continuation back down. That's what we were really expecting, but it didn't happen that way. So if you're able to switch gears and say, hey, you know what, okay, we didn't get the pullback, but how is the continuation going? How's the momentum going for that given day? And and this is why sometimes you'll hear me say, you know what, if you are the type of trader that trade with EMAs, at that point we had all of our EMAs pretty much um, going in our favor, pretty much shorting this dollar. So right around here is when we broke that, and it didn't seem to give us a pullback. We just kept on taking this dollar short. Last week, well, anyhow, Yeah, let me go ahead and give you the breakdown. What happened last week for me? Tried shorting the pound. I actually got stopped on it twice, and the Aussie dollar, or was it the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, dollar Swiss? I think I only got like 3 trades for last week. So two of them didn't work, which it just turned out to be the pound dollar, and the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, and the dollar Swiss did end up working. It wasn't that much of a profitable week for me last week. It was just there. It was just roaming around. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and move on. So let's go ahead and yeah, let's go ahead and move forward. So what happened was that um, if you guys go back, or if you guys might recall, for me, the minute we hit that 75, that was pretty much game over for me for the entire week. And at that point, I think this happened right around Thursday, or I think it was Thursday right around here, or maybe late Wednesday. And then at that point, we were just, at that point, I was just hands off. Why? Because we need a 4 hour candle breaking the 75. And if you can see here, I mean, the minute we came down here, hit a really good demand. Um, came all the way back, but as we were trying to rip the 12,475, we're just not able to. We're not able to close below the 475. Every time we come towards this 475, we'll just get a kick back up, and look what happened here. We got a kick back up all the way up here, right? So this is the scenario where we're at right now. So now it's time to go ahead and plan the week and our if and what conditions as to how would we trade this. So we already know we have a lot of supply right here. That's the 575 that we built a lot of supply right there. And in order for us to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, the trend has already established. Well, then, if you're more like a confirmation, or maybe you're one of those people that maybe you have a day job, and you don't have time to be sitting in front of the computer. Well, maybe you might want to wait until we get a 4 hour candle breaking below the 475. Once we get a candle breaking below the 475, then expect this demand to get some kind of a pullback. And then once you get the pullback, you should get the continuation. I'm sorry, give me 1 second, guys. All right, so expect the pullback. And then at that point, once you get the pullback, um, you should see some kind of supply building around here before breakout. It'll happen right around the 475, 480, or very well around the 495, 500. At any rate, wherever you see the supply forming, uh, just kind of wait until you get the retracement, and then you should feel quite comfortable, minimum, taking it towards the 425. I don't see anything else. Um, well, actually, let's just kind of, well, yeah, let me go ahead and show you the step by steps further out. So that's if the dollar happens to go south short, then just know that you're definitely going to get a stumble here again. Um, and the next major demand that I see is pretty much that 325, 320 area, right around this level. And this is where just these are levels that I consider as far as higher time frames. If you're trading the lower time frames, then you would actually have to revert this maybe to a 2 hour, 1 hour, and see where you can see these supply and demand zones. Um, all right, so now let's talk about what if it doesn't go short from here on, from where current price is at right now. So now let's build the other scenario. By the way, whenever you see me these lines, drawing these white lines here, um, all it is just support and resistance, but on lower time frames, maybe on the 1 hour, on the 2 hours, that they've worked really well. And as you can see here, that worked really well, really well. And then it came down here. That candle came down here, and it worked really well as well. So whenever I start seeing those on lower time frames, I just draw a little line right there, and then, hey, you know what? That's really good support resistance lines. In this case, that would be support, and I'm waiting now to see if maybe this works. Now, what if it does work? Okay, so if it does work, just know that, well, I'm sorry, once again, this is my plan of action, that if that works right there, I would actually wait minimum to get like a 4 hour candle breaking above this 530 candle, because this is where everything's at. I mean, you got supply right there, you got supply right there, you got all that right there. So I would wait for a 4 hour, maybe not even a 4 hour candle, maybe a 2 hour candle. But this is now switching gears, and if I'm in front of the computer, because at that point you have all this to take care of. um, and expect a bump right around the 550 again. I built some kind of a not that much of a good looking supply zone. Here, let's go ahead and dig in deep. Let's see, we actually see a wick right there. You don't really see a wick right there. It might just work. Maybe you drop it down to a lower time frame, you might see some kind of supply right there. Nevertheless, if it does rip, just know that you have a lot of supply right up here. You have daily, you have 6 hour, you have 4 3 hour demand zones. I'm sorry, supply zones, and that would be my stop. That's as far as I would actually take this dollar for the. So once again, the plan for me would I need some kind of anchor break, preferably on the 4 hour candle, breaking that 530. I would actually expect some kind of pullback at the 550, and then I would not take it beyond the 570. Um, that would be my. So as soon as I start seeing breakouts towards the upside, then I'd be looking for anything going long on the dollar index, on all the other pairs, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar CAD, New Zealand dollar, the Aussie dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen. I'd be looking to go long on those dollar pairs. So those are my if and what scenarios. If it decides to go long, if it decides to go short, then for the people that are actually that have jobs, once again, maybe you might want to wait until we get a 4 hour breakout below the 475. Um, I can't really tell you what to do between this range right here, because it's not meant for swing trading, because you have a lot of obstacles right here. First of all, not only do you have your EMAs against you so far right now, you have support. Um, you have a little bit demand here, demand here. So I can't really say, hey, you know what? It's the spaces in between are so little that if you're going to be trading this entire range bound right here, it's really meant for day trading. Um, as maybe if you're like me, that maybe you get up and you trade the London session, then yeah, if that's maybe for day traders uh, looking to short it all the way down here. But once again, the minute let me get rid of this, the minute we come in towards this 480 475, I won't even I wouldn't even be. I would just be watching, just hands off, just wait until I get a 4 hour candle. Why? Because as soon as I get a 4 hour candle, I'm expecting that demand to work out a little bit well, and then get a pullback, and then just get once again get a pullback um, for the retracement, for the continuation back down. Now, what if? Here's the other scenario. What if that short works out? And what happened last week? We didn't get the pullback. Well, then sometimes when you don't get the pullback, um, you're gonna have to actually be able to kind of switch gears. Sometimes it'll give you that the hesitation, where it'll hesitate right around here until you'll eventually get the breakout. But you're not gonna see it on the 4 hour. You would have to drop down to a 1 hour. And see, or a 30 minute, you would see all this hesitation right around here, and then maybe on the next uh, trading session day, you will actually get the next final breakout. Okay, so those are the sometimes when you can't seem to get the pullback on that given day. Sometimes it'll stall there, and then for the continuation next for the next leg down. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's really how what I'm seeing for the dollar index for this week. I'm not really expecting that much of a major movement this week. By the way, let me go ahead and bring this out. But Tuesday, you don't have anything. What really catches my attention here is um, really nothing here up until Friday. Um, but other than that, I mean, you don't really have anything that really catches my attention that says pretty much hands off or be careful with that news announcement. So it's going to be somewhat of a nice trendy week, or may just be a really slow week this week. So that's pretty much just, so that's why I wasn't able to find that many trades for this week, and I could really see this dollar just kind of range bounding. If it's going to go up, uh, it's going to go up to towards this level, tops maybe the 600 level, because if this supply doesn't work, that supply and resistance will work right there, and you should expect somewhat of a pullback. If that works towards the downside, then expect a breakout for the retracement for the continuation back towards this 425. And that's pretty much it, guys, for this week for this dollar index. I'll see you guys on the next video. I only found 4 possible good trades for this week, so I'll see you guys on the next video, guys. Take care.